Hello, and welcome back to the Garden of Grace devotion. My name is Pastor Katie, and I'm one of the pastors at Trinity Lutheran Church in Lilburn, Georgia. And this is my pal Jasper. Jasper wanted to come to the garden devotion today because Jasper had a very exciting experience in worship about a week and a half ago. So I thought I would bring him with me today as I told you about it, and see if he has anything to add to the story. So a week and a half ago, we had our Blessing of the Pet service at Trinity. We met in the back field of Trinity, and Jasper was one of the folks that was present, one of the pets that was present. Oh, it was exhausting, wasn't it? Worship can be very tiring. So Jasper went, and he attended the worship service, and it was something. We had cats and dogs. There were cats in their back of their crates that were afraid. There were cats that looked more comfortable. There were dogs that were excited to be there. There were dogs that weren't so sure what was going on. It was a really, really interesting scene. It was very lively, lots going on. And as I reflected after the worship service on all that took place, I was thinking that perhaps the way that I journeyed in that worship service, the way that I saw it and was a part of it, might be an interesting new way to occasionally journey in life. As each pet showed up, I was curious about what they would be like. I wondered where they would sit or what they would do. I met them the way they were. I could tell that some of the dogs did not want to be touched, really, and so I didn't touch them. I could tell that some were just very excited and wanted to be a part of things, and so we included them a little bit more. There was one dog that, while I was offering the homily, I think just took off. He started running. I said, "We have a runner." And I said, if you need help, just let us know. Otherwise, we'll continue on. It was such a scene. My dog did pee during worship a couple times, or before actually, but in the sanctuary, which was outside. There were all of these behaviors. Oh, you're so sleepy. There were all of these behaviors that you would not normally see in worship, and for good reason. But as I reflected on the worship service as a whole and my presence there, I thought, what if I journeyed through life looking at more situations in the way that I looked at this one? I didn't judge where people sat with their animals. I didn't really feel like I was judging much of anything at all. I was just showing up, and I was speaking about the love of God while all of these things were going on, all of these things. When it came time for the blessing, Pastor Scott and I went around to the different animals, and we offered a blessing. Some animals, were excited about that, and they, just were ready. A few animals offered me their hiney to bless, and so I did. I didn't try to make it fit a certain way. I didn't try to make it go a certain way. I met the four-legged congregants where they were. I learned from them. I journeyed alongside of them, and all the while, we spoke of the goodness of God and the gifts that God gives to us in creation. As I reflected on the service, I thought about Psalm 96, which is a psalm that reminds us to speak of the goodness of God. This psalm was likely written during a time of exile when the people were displaced. The people of Israel were displaced. It was not an easy time. Yet hear these words from the psalmist. Psalm 96. Oh, sing to the Lord a new song. Sing to the Lord all the earth. Sing to the Lord, bless his name. Tell of his salvation from day to day. Declare his glory among the nations, his marvelous work among all the peoples. For great is the Lord, and greatly to be praised. He is to be revered above all gods. This song is a song of praise. Sing to the Lord a new song. Sing to the Lord all the earth. Give thanks for who God is amidst all of the things that are going on. I started wondering aloud to myself what it might be like if, instead of focusing on all the things around me, if, like on that worship service, I focused on singing to the Lord a new song on the love of God and seeking to love my neighbor and journey alongside them without being offended, without feeling like I'm judging, without feeling critical, but instead being curious. For one thing, I think it would feel differently. As I looked out among all those animals, I felt joy. I felt joy at the goodness of God and God's creation. I wasn't worried about making sure everything went just right. Hey, buddy. I was amused at all of the different creatures that God created. Last week, in the sermon, we talked about the image of God and the reminder that each person is made in the image of God. This psalm and this worship service of the blessing of the pets remind me to take a little time to maybe not take myself so seriously, to look for the image of God in the world around me, and amidst all that goes on, to sing to the Lord a new song, to bless God's name, to tell of God's salvation from day to day. For great is the Lord, and greatly is God to be praised. So, next time I find myself wondering what somebody's doing, or I found myself tending to be critical rather than curious, I hope that I'll remember that blessing of the pet service, and perhaps allow myself to look for the image of God in the other person. Perhaps seek to journey alongside them in some kind of way. And may I find joy in everyday life, just like I found joy in that service among God's creation a week ago Sunday. May God's peace be with you today and always. Amen.